Well, here we are, Chris Yeti's 1970 Chevelle with a monster 427 cubic inch LT4 gigantic blower, E85, half-inch fuel lines, smooth boost. It's gonna be a monster. So it's all polished. Got a nice coat of Bakersfield dirt on it because they're shaking the almonds right now. I don't know if you can pick that up on the screen, but getting everything mounted. Got an intercooler pump down here, power steering reservoir, headers and exhaust, I believe, are all the way on, all the way out the back. Josh is over here working on the wiring harness on the wall. You can see that we have all that mocked up from the new coach control stuff that we're putting in the trunk with the Aeromotive or VaporWorks fuel controller. Everything that'll mount in the trunk is set over here. And then all the wiring is set to go around to the dash bar that goes under the dash. So typically we do this before it goes, but this is the first legacy car with a Holley ECU for the manual transmission and the LTs. The main reason is to clean up a little bit of the hang that happens with the GM ECU on the D-cell.
Can you give us a little bit more info on this coach build?
It allows you to have one-touch windows, allows you to set some other parts and pieces up to where the windows will move just a little bit when you open and close the doors. Just little things that when you close the door, the windows could go up just a quarter of an inch more to tighten things up. So it makes it easier for the doors to shut, and makes it easier for a better seal when you're going down the road.
So does this work in conjunction with a new wiring harness like that you would buy for the Chevelle?
Yeah, this is the harness. It's not just a controller. It's a harness that is for the entire car. Controls the headlights, gives you daytime running lights, gives you all those types of things. But this is the fuse panel. Even though it doesn't use fuses, it uses breakers, I think is what it's called.
Okay. So this is it. So you don't have to buy any other harness or anything like that.
It is the harness.
Okay.
And here's all the things. So it has the master fuses and stuff like that all go in the trunk with the one-touch window parts, things like that. So that will mount on a bracket that will mount in the trunk that will be accessible through that to just get it out from underneath the dash.
This is starting to get really popular on a lot of the builds, huh?
Yeah, these are some of the new features that come on the latest cars. So Dr. Bob is trying for some safety, some 360 camera stuff, some things like that. And so we're working on backup cameras, which is another thing we're putting into the cars so that you can see on the very back out here, you can see where the parking curb is. Like if you're trying to go to a Cars and Coffee in Power Park, you can see where that curb is in the back instead of finding out that, oh yeah, the car's low and we hit the curb.
Okay. So Dr. Bob's is getting it. Chris Yeti's getting it.
Yeah, all the cars that are on the Uni-Body chassis are getting a lot of the new stuff as kind of standard equipment.
That's nice. Nice.
Okay. So, but this one is going to the Holley ECU for the manual transmission cars, because on the manual transmission cars, I can also do boost per gear and I can do traction control.
Okay.
So we'll allow this to, because we know that there's going to be traction issues in that car. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we got going on this. I can take you over and show you all the interior parts.
Is there anything else on the car before we walk away from it?
I mean, just you can see all the boom mats in the car. A lot of that type of stuff is set into the car at this point. We've got all the e-stop power brakes in the rear, for the parking brakes, I should say, for push button e-brake. So that's mounted here. Cables go down and connect to it down here. Roadster shop changed their spindles, and so there's a little bit of a change in the caliper mounting brackets that we're dealing with Willwood on these new chassis from Roadster shop. We have our LED fog lights here in Chris's car that are now available on our website.
Okay.
There's a limited quantity. I believe we have 20 available. So I think they're $1,000. I don't know, something like that.
And before anyone freaks out, for $1,000 fog lights, what's the benefits from them?
I mean, they're LED. They look way better. They're more of a driving light than a fog light.
And those are billet housing?
Those are a billet housing that we machine that bolts right in, fits everything in. The bulbs cost more than everything else.
Yeah, so they're essentially
a JW speaker LED fog light, driving light that
Yeah.
will match the headlights. That'll just give you some lights down low and do that type of stuff.
So they're not a turn signal. They're
not a turn signal. We run the turn signals in the headlights.
Yeah, they're an auxiliary light at this
Yes.
point, but going in the turn signal
Yep.
of the bumper.
But they're down low.
This one has the dual inlet intake.
Yeah, so we can run the dual inlet for more cooler, fresher air in the Holly, which is another reason to run the Holly on the bigger horsepower ones because it doesn't need a mass airflow sensor.
Okay.
So it'll give you the balanced look that a lot of guys want, but in this one, it actually serves a function of giving you the cool air from both sides of the car. And we did a lot of provisions on this car to channel cool air in there. So if you look back here, you can see we opened this up for for air to come in around the lights and go back here. And we opened up all these holes for fresh air to go in there as well to make somewhat of a cold air induction from the front on both sides.
Nice.
So it's got, everything else is just kind of coming together. So the water pump for somehow didn't make it through the process, powder coated, so it's out being powder coated, and then that'll go back on, and then all the bracket system will go back on, and then we'll work on the dual air inlets, and then we've got to work on custom intercooler tank to account for the dual inlets that he wanted, and we're trying to figure out a way to make a slick one that's not, that'll have a little bit more capacity to it.
Is Chris planning on coming to see any time of the process?
He's coming at some point. He wants to come down and actually meet us, and he's still trying to decide on which wheels he wants to do. So if you got any ideas, you can sling it out there in the comments. See what you think on that. It's black with white stripes with a black interior. Pretty traditional car, and just not sure which direction he wants to go on the wheels. So
he's not really favoring the Keystones.
That's probably his top runner, but I don't think he's sold on them.
He wants it to be a little bit
I
different.
think he wants to be a little different, which that's understandable too.
100%.
I was thinking about like a wide 5 fixie. Remember the old fixie wheels that they used to run on all of them that had like the brush center and the polish tubes? I'm like, that would look really good. Give you kind of a early 2000s pro touring car look.
Yeah.
So be kind of cool on that.
Forgeline has a few that
Forgeline has one that we
Yeah.
could do there. We could do actual fixies. I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are going to have a cool 5-spoke wheel. So here's the door panel that we have. It's got the trim piece just set in here. This is set loose to be cut out. It's been already wrapped in leather. You can see that these are made out of fiberglass. They have hooks to go over the top of the window, and then everything is set in here and wrapped. Over here, it's got the SS badges and stuff like that already in it. These need to go to polish and get cleaned up, and then we'll put the sticker in it that goes in here.
And this is all held on by magnets.
These ones actually get set on there from behind now. They don't need to, because they don't need to be removable, and we just bolt these in from down below.
Okay.
And there's a piece that bolts in here that bolts that to it, and then there's a magnetic piece that goes across it. So the cover panels are bolted in with magnets, but these don't need to be magnets anymore.
And these are the kick panels?
These are the kick panels with the removable grills, and then there's speaker pieces. These have to be, I don't have enough fingernail, but that would pop out here and allow access to bolt this in there, because this would sit under the dash like so. And so these are fiberglass as well, and there's speaker grills that go in here that are off being coated. And then back here's the rear quarter panel pieces. Rear quarter panel pieces that have been wrapped. Once again, this needs to go here. Speaker grills for the front panels, and then armrests. So these are all wrapped and printed. These are all the billet pieces that go in that. So these are the same kits that we sell on our website. We don't sell the dash pads because they just fit our cars. But we do sell the interior kits. They're expensive, but there's a lot of billet parts and a lot of made parts. These speaker grills are pretty in detail because they're separate pieces. You can see that ring separates from here. And so you can coat this black and then chrome this if you want to give it a little extra splash. So lots of parts to it, but they just fit right in the cars.
Okay.
So other than that, that's really the thing, is getting the horsepower in it this month and getting all this stuff detailed and working with Chris on trying to decipher the wheels. He wants to make sure he makes the right choice, and I would think that we'll see him down here sometime in September.
Perfect. I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, be a good time.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for taking the time walking us through this one. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.